Hi, welcome to my financial markets recap for the week. It's John Bann here from colmatech.com. How are you all today on this beautiful Friday? Before we get to the news, let's talk about the system and what the system did this week. We had a trade this week and it was a nice little trade, and it made some good money on the S&P 500 but had a little nick on the Nasdaq, so a bit of a mix there, but overall made some money. When you consider it was a long trade, we bought lower and sold it higher overall, then for this week that's pretty good going, because this week was quite a pullback. If you've been watching the markets this week, there was a big pullback going on, particularly today. I've been discussing this expectation for a pullback for the last few weeks now, and here we are, we had it. So great to not be part of that pullback. Really great, because we think there's more downside coming in the next couple of weeks. I think there'll be a really rally next week, so we're hoping to get a little bit of that. But certainly that's my 2 cents so far. But I'm very happy for the Commonwealth members, because we managed to get a small profit this week and avoided all the carnage, which, when you avoid days like today and days like last Friday where there were really big pullback, today was a big pullback in the market, so a sizable pullback, and to not be a part of that is just absolutely terrific. So well done to go Comla, right? And I'm very excited about October and November and December. Really, we've got some really great trades coming up in those months, particularly November, December, but we've got some good ones in October too. Been kind of in and out, little short-term, little profit grabs in the last couple of trades, because we're expecting this volatility to come through, and that's exactly what's happening. I think there's more on the way, which is great, because we want more on the way. We want the market to tank without us. So let's hope that continues and that is the case. So that was the system update. What was the news this week? Well, this week the House Democrats proposed a plan to raise up to $2.9 trillion in tax dollars. So that's over the next 10 years. That is the biggest tax hike in decades, basically. And the goal, of course, is to pay for Biden administration's $3.5 trillion plan to expand America's social safety net and the combat climate change also. And lawmakers are expected to vote on that fairly soon. I don't have a definitive date on it, because it's probably a moving goalpost, but they'll be looking to push that through fairly soon, I'm sure, in the House. In other news, SpaceX are in the news this week because Elon Musk's space company made history after its all-civilian mission launched from Cape Canaveral in Florida. So this mission, this year really is all about the space race. We had Jeff Bezos up there, we had Richard Branson in space. The billionaires are really going head to head here, all three of them. But this mission was dubbed Inspiration 4 because it sent 4 regular people into orbit for the very first time. So including a physician's assistant who's also a cancer survivor, a geoscientist, a US Air Force veteran, and Jared Isaacman, who actually paid for it. He's a billionaire. He paid for the flight to help raise money for cancer, childhood cancer. So went to a great cause, and he was leading the crew. So they'll be flying higher than the International Space Station, the farthest any human has gone since 2009. So pretty cool stuff, really cool. I'd love to go to space. I hopefully the cost will come down a lot over the next decade, so we can all have a go, right? Wouldn't that be great? So Elon's doing great there, but he was beaten to the punch a little bit in another area, and that was because the Rivian, the other rival company to Tesla's, Cybertruck, Rivian is producing a truck, an EV truck, and it's actually gone to production. This is the first car company that's actually gone to production with a EV truck. Tesla and Ford and GM are lagging behind a little bit there, but I think they're all coming out with models next year. They'll be in production next year, so I don't think we'll have to wait too long for that. But certainly Rivian is the first and beat everyone else to the punch. We're expecting that. I think GM has got the big Hummer coming out. I think it's the full-size Hummer's coming back, and that's coming back at the end of this year. I think it's in the later maybe this month or next month or something like that. They're talking about the fall, so here we are now. So it should be news should be on that pretty soon, and that is going to be the GM's first truck that is all electric. So that space really is heating up, and we'll see more and more of this stuff, and it's great for the economy because truck sales is a big part of the economy, particularly in the US. So great news for the stock market. In other news, the US Census Bureau reported that poverty fell to 9.1% in 2020. So that's accounting for all the government aid. It's the lowest rate on record, and it's a significant decline from 11.8% in 2019. So it's nearly 8.5 million people were lifted out of poverty last year. It's an unprecedented change in a single year, and that was largely down to attributed to the stimulus checks that the government put out, because of the pandemic. So poverty in the United States is defined as a family of four living on just over $26,000 or under that. And the question is, what happens when the stimulus ends? Because obviously the government can't keep doing this; it can't keep sending out checks. So hopefully that doesn't affect those people. Hopefully we can keep those numbers going and get everyone out of poverty, right? In climate change news, a new report was found that since 2015, the signing of the Paris Agreement, more than 75% of the world's planned coal projects have been scrapped. So that's 44 countries that have no future coal plants whatsoever. So that's a major win for the environment. And speaking of the environment and sustainable investing, Harvard announced that it's officially ending its investment ties to fossil fuels after years of pressure from students, staff and activists. Harvard actually has $42 billion in its endowment fund, so this is a pretty big deal. It's putting a lot of money into fossil fuels historically, so this is a big change for them. They're not the first university to do this in terms of its endowment fund. University of California, I think, was first, and other universities have divested at least 90% into that realm. So it's becoming a trend in education that the big endowment funds. $42 billion. That is massive for Harvard. I mean, good for them to raise that kind of capital over the years. It's bigger than some GDPs for sort of small countries, right? So from a lot of countries, probably half the countries in the world, why did they even bother charging their students money when they got that kind of money, right? I mean, good grief. So that was the sort of environmental. There was one other piece of environmental news which is kind of off the wall, and that is a fun piece of news, and that is you've never seen a woolly mammoth, because they have been extinct for 10,000 years. But what if we could de-extinct them? Well, a startup called Colossal, aptly named, is co-founded by Harvard's medical school genetics professor Dr. George Church, and he aims to bring a version of the animal back to the Arctic within a decade. So apparently, large herbivores in the Arctic help slow climate change through slowing permafrost thaw in the tundra by removing trees and trampling moss. So this is one of the reasons for the project. So go figure. And speaking of climate change, a recent study research result showed that more than 45% of young people surveyed across 10 countries said that climate change caused them anxiety and affected their daily lives. And 56% of them said that they thought humanity was doomed, right? So pretty stark stuff, pretty bad. So hopefully bring on the mammoths, I say, right? Just stop there. Don't do the carnivores, okay? Like, we've all seen the movie. That's that. Hopefully they'll stop there. But I'd love to see a woolly mammoth. Apparently they can do it in about 15 years. So we'll see. We'll see how they're going to do that and if they actually are able to do it. So it'll be interesting. And I'm not going to get into the ethics of it, but if it's for the environment, maybe it's a good thing, right? Who knows? So that's really the update for me. That is it's the weekend. It is time to down tools. Thanks very much for watching, and take care, and bye for now.